When is the right time to hire an executive coach? Do you even need an executive coach? These questions actually come up quite a bit. I was recently asked this exact question after a keynote that I gave this week. Yes, there have been certain points and milestones in my career. Many of you know that I spent the majority of my life as the introverted IT guy, and then about 10 years ago started leading human resources. That was the very first time that I started being intentional about finding a mentor and actually engaged an executive coach. I had no clue where to start because I had jumped in to leading this new team full of bubbly, extroverted, outgoing HR professionals, and I didn't know what I had just gotten myself into. This was the turning point for me because up to that point in my life, in my career, I always had this mindset like, oh, I'm just going to push through. I'm going to grind. I can figure this out. I'm smart. I don't need an executive coach. Can you do that? Yes. Can you accelerate the process by finding the right person and working with that person? Also, yes. So let's dive in. This view might be contrarian to what a lot of other coaches talk about, but I am a firm believer that you should engage somebody to get you over the hump or challenge that you are currently dealing with. There are a lot of coaches out there that will try to hook you for a 1 or 2 or multi-year agreement saying, oh, real change takes time. And yes, but I think if you know what you're doing and you know exactly how to help the individual get where they want to go, it should not take multiple years. I was actually at an event a couple of months ago. Somebody stood up and said, I've had the same coach for 17 years. I kind of think that really just turns into therapy or maybe having somebody to bounce ideas off of, which those things are important, but I wouldn't really classify that as coaching. Maybe a thought partner, a strategic advisor, something like that. But I view coaching that it should occur in sprints. So the first thing that you want to ask yourself is, am I stuck? This is where I was. The first window of time that you really want to start thinking about this is if you are stuck. You've been in the same role, same position, same job for year after year after year. You know that you're capable of more. You just can't quite figure out what's going on. You're not getting any feedback or guidance from your boss. Your friends and family are like, oh, keep crushing it. Just keep working hard. You'll get there. But as time goes on, you think there has to be a better way. This is when you want to ask yourself, does it make sense for me to engage somebody that can help show me the things that I'm not seeing? Because it can't just be work, and just hope that at some point somebody recognizes your value. Don't be afraid to raise your hand and be intentional about finding a coach that can help get you over this hump that you are dealing with. And it's completely okay. If you think about some of the highest performers in the world, when they get stuck or when they want to learn something new, they will engage a coach. So if you are stuck, stop being stuck. Reach out, find somebody to help you, and you will find somebody that can help get you to that next level. The next window of time that I want to talk about is when you are in a period of acceleration. You're on a decent path, but you want to compress the window of time that it's going to take to get to that next level. Some seasons of life, we are just coasting, and that's completely okay. There are other seasons of life when we want to drop a gear and really start making some meaningful progress. Can you grind your way through that? Yeah, of course. But if you step onto the racetrack and you've never been on this track, it probably makes sense for you to have somebody in the passenger seat that can actually call out the turns, call out the speeds, help you understand how to navigate through this so that you can get to the finish line faster. So if you are trying to accelerate, if you are trying to move to that next position, to get promoted faster, and things just aren't really moving along at the rate that you would like them to, this is, once again, when you want somebody in your corner, somebody that can point out the road signs, help you get there faster. The final one that I want to talk about is referred to as step change transition. This is when you step into a new role. Maybe you just got promoted to that new vice president level role, or somebody gave you the reins to the HR department and you've never done it before. This is when you absolutely need to very seriously consider finding somebody who's actually done it. The executive coach that I hired had a strong background in human resources. They came in, they helped me better understand behavioral styles. They helped me understand employment law and benefits and payroll and kind of all of those things. Could I have figured that out on my own? Yeah, if I grinded my way through it, but hiring somebody helped accelerate the rate at which I learned and became proficient in this new domain. There were a few other times when I hired an executive coach. One, whenever I was asked to start an ESG function. The next time was whenever I stepped in and started leading safety and transportation. And then the final time was whenever I jumped into entrepreneurship. I had this mindset of, oh, Sean, you've been a part of 48 acquisitions and integrations and 2 IPOs. You know how to scale a business. So I went in excited, and then I jumped in and realized, oh no, I don't know how to start a business. And that was the last time or most recent time that I actually hired an executive coach to help me put together all of these foundational pieces and figure out what it means to actually start from zero. What does it mean to build a brand? What are sales cycles? What's a CRM? How do I actually move people through the pipeline? I had no clue how to do any of that stuff. I had to learn how to sell. Well, okay, so fair, yes. I had another coach that kind of helped me out with the sales side of it, so entrepreneurship and then sales. Every time you step into something new, there's a high probability that you got there because you were really good at the thing that you used to do. That does not automatically mean that you are going to be really good at this new thing. Yes, you can learn it. I cannot stress this enough. But if you want to accelerate, if you want to get there faster, if you want to step in to that new thing and then just dominate very quickly, don't be afraid to find somebody that can help you get there quickly. I think it's also important for us to talk about when you don't need a coach. If you are at a point in your life where you have achieved big things and you want to coast and just enjoy life, that's probably not the best time. I mean, maybe you could see some sort of benefits from it, but enjoy life. Enjoy the fruits of all of that labor that you've put into it. Another thing is, if there's no specific outcome that you can actually name, like, oh, I really like this guy, Sean. Man, he is motivational and inspirational and seems to really know his stuff, but I don't really know what I want to accomplish. Don't go hire Sean, because he might make you feel good, but it's kind of a waste of money and time and energy unless you just want somebody to make you feel good and kind of be that cheerleader, which I'm probably not that guy. But if you are in a season where you're comfortable, you can't name any sort of a specific outcome, just enjoy that season of your life. Don't feel obligated to hire anybody to help you out if you can't even name the outcome. All right, cool. So we've gone through all of that stuff. How do you actually find the right coach to work with during this season of your life? This can create some confusion because during the pandemic, half the world lost their jobs, and then half of those people became an executive coach. And the majority of them were HR managers that just went and got a coaching certification. And great, that's fantastic. They are really good at people things. The best filter that you can use is to look at all of the results that this coach or strategic advisor has achieved over the years and say, are those things that I want to accomplish? Oh, I want to expand my role. I want to ascend into the C-suite. I want to understand how to navigate mergers and acquisitions and an IPO. Go find a coach that has done all of those things. If they cannot show you mountains and mountains of social proof that they have done what they say they can do, see that as a red flag. And yes, there's a lot of content creators that they'll go out there and they'll find the most viral hook and they'll just read from the script. But when you have a face-to-face conversation with them, when you get them on the phone, they should be asking you the right questions. They should be asking you questions that provoke thought and you think, oh, I've never even thought about that. Okay, this person has actually done what they say they can do. That needs to be your first and most important filter that you use when you are trying to find an executive coach. And the other thing, interview as many of them as you possibly can. Go look at their websites, look at their social media, go look at their YouTube, look at their Google reviews. If they've only got 3 5-star Google reviews, and then you come over here and look at Wolf Executives and they're almost 150, that's going to be a signal. Now, is that absolute? No, but these are all signals that you have to look out for. I believe that a lot of people have a bad taste in their mouth because they paid a lot of money for a coach and didn't see any results. Putting more time and energy on the front end, vetting them out, maybe having conversations with other people that they have worked with. All of these things should occur when you are trying to find the right fit. The other thing that I want you to make sure of is when you go into any sort of coaching agreement or engagement, that there is a clear and defined outcome. If you don't have that, if your first session or two isn't spent mapping out exactly what you want to accomplish, this is also a red flag. Truthfully, you should probably have that mapped out before you even start. But if you don't have a clear path and goals and objectives and a rough timeline of where you are going to be, it's probably not the right fit. These are just a few things that you should be looking out for when it comes time to find that coach that's going to take you to the next level. As I start to wrap this up, there's 3 questions that I want to leave you with. Ask yourself, am I in one of these windows? Am I in one of these seasons of my life where I'm stuck, I want to accelerate, or I'm doing something entirely new? That has to be the first question. That is the foundation. The second is, what is the actual outcome that I want to achieve? Have that written down. Maybe have conversations with friends or peers and say, is this an outcome that I should be striving for? That's going to tell you a lot. And then the final, and arguably one of the most important ones, question is this coach qualified to get me where I want to be? If not, you need to spend some more time digging into this. These things hopefully will provide a little bit more clarity and context. Can you achieve great things in life without somebody in your corner? Yes. Will you be able to get there faster with somebody in your corner? Also, yes.